الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين سيدنا وسيد الأولين والآخرين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتخبين المنتجبين المظلومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. The third of our salawat with the loudest of our voices for the ta'jeel of the faraj of Sahib al-Asr wal-Amr Ajal Allah Ta'ala faraj al-Sharif Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. My respected brothers and sisters, my elders and learned scholars, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allamallahu ajurana wa ajurakum. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to compensate us all for the sorrow that we feel on the istishhad of Abi Abdullah Hussain alayhi salamullah, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who listen to that which is best and follow it, so that we may help to re-establish the justice of Shuhada'i Karbala and ensure the prosperity of humanity by taking the lessons that are beneficial for us, inshallah, and for our society. To that end, Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Tonight marks the night in which we honor a personality that is grand, magnificent, and really a personality that if we want to know how best to serve the Imam of our time, we need not look beyond Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi afdal salatu wa salam. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa When it comes to understanding al-Abbas alayhi salamullah, or when we describe al-Abbas alayhi salamullah, he is described as the perfect male, as the perfect role model for what it means to be the Muslim man, of being selfless, of being courageous, of being helpful to others, and of being a protector when it's necessary to take up the roles and responsibilities. But all the strength in Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah, when we analyze his life and the personalities which were beneficial to him, doesn't only highlight the strength within the Muslim man, but it highlights the essence of the strength of the Muslim man, and that is the Muslim woman. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. For indeed we cannot begin to discuss Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah without first discussing the role of his noble mother, al-Baneen alayha afdal salatu wa salam. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali al-Baneen, which literally translates to the mother of sons. Baneen or Banoon means sons, and means mother. Al-Baneen literally means the mother of sons. And this title was given to her, or rather her real name is Fatima. And Fatima is one of the wives of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salamullah, after the istishhad of Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen Fatima bint Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And we have in our traditions and narrations, it has been related to us that Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen in her will specifically asked Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salamullah to seek out Fatima al-Baneen as a wife, so that they may have children or sons specifically who will be able to support Imam al-Hussain alayhi salamullah on the day of Ashura, where the Imam will not have many helpers and supporters. When Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salamullah is inquiring about al-Baneen, he goes to his brother Aqil. And Aqil is known as a genealogist, meaning that Aqil would look at an individual and just by the features of the individual will be able to distinguish whether you are Pakistani, Arabic, and where in that part of the world you come from. So for example, he will look at you and he'll say, you are an Arab and you come from such and such community and you come from such and such tribe. And he will almost be able to pin you down right to your mother and father, just by simply looking at an individual, and being able to tell from the features from which family you come from. Imam Ali alayhi salam goes to Aqil and he says, "Oh Aqil, find me from amongst the Arabs or the Arab tribes a woman who the lions of war gave birth to her, that she may give me a warrior to stand by my son Imam al-Hussain on the day of Ashura." Sallallahu Muhammadin wa Let us just focus in on this conversation here very briefly. Yesterday we were discussing marriage, right? And the benefits of marriage and the thawab and the ajr and all else that comes with. Again, we're talking about Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. There are other methods and other ways in the world, and there are other people who find different, as I say, different strokes for different folks. It works differently in other societies. But we're talking about the Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. What does Shia mean? Shia means following, okay? The actual word, the word Shia, means to follow something or someone to the end destination. So we say Tashi'ul Janaza. In a funeral procession, we say Tashi'ul Janaza because we are following the body to the grave. We're carrying it all the way until we reach the grave. In this sense, we are not following the body itself, for itself. We're getting to a destination that is the grave, but the body is what's going to take us there. If there was no body there to be carried to the grave, then obviously no living person wants to go to the cemetery, correct? So, Tashir or Tashayyu or being the Shia of means that you are following something or someone, not in that you are following the thing itself, but you are following it to wherever it is going to. As Shia of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, it means that we are the followers of Ali ibn Abi Talib towards what? Towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning that we take what Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam does or says equal to what Rasulullah has told us and said to us, because Ali is taking us back to Rasulullah and Rasulullah is taking us back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore one of the ways in which marriage has been attacked in Western society is that we are often, specifically for us growing up in the West, the youth, we are told your family gets too involved in your affairs. You're going to have an arranged marriage. You're going to marry someone from back home. That your marriage is arranged, right? You don't have a choice. You don't have a say. And this is mocked as if it is somehow negative and derogatory. But when we look at Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, what does he do? Does he go out and, start looking at women in the market and saying, I'm trying to find the right one? Is this how Amir al-Mu'mineen teaches us to find a life partner? Is this how we as a community of Ali should be looking for our life partners? The answer is no. What does Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam do? Mind you, Ali is the one who says, Saluni, saluni qabla an tafqudun. Ask me before you lose me. Meaning Ali doesn't need to ask anybody. People should be asking Ali ibn Abi Talib because he knows everything. But Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam is asking a question to Aqil so that he sets an example for his followers. That doesn't matter who you are and what your status is. When it comes to picking a life partner, don't just go blindly based on emotions. Go and ask those people in the community who know the community that you're going to marry from. Because we said in Hollywood and Bollywood, it shows you that love just happens instantaneously, correct? But marriage is about two families coming together. Marriage is about extensions within two communities coming together. You could be Afghani Muslim marrying a Pakistani Muslim. You might be close, you might speak similar, you might even look similar, but there are different ways that you do things home in your culture. You could be Arab Muslim marrying an Iranian Muslim. There are still things that happen different inside each culture. And though you may get along with a person now, when children are born into a relationship, when you have the family get-togethers, there's going to be a lot of things that you'll start to notice that may or may not work for you as an individual, and those things that don't work for you as an individual are going to reflect for you as a couple. And it may begin to cause some issues later on down the road. So therefore it is best to ask someone who is well aware of the community and knows the who and the what of what inside each community respectively. Number one. And number two, you need to also inquire about the house in which the person is raised. Ali ibn Abi Talib specifically says, find me a woman from amongst the Arabs. So he wants someone who knows the Arab community very well. Find me a woman from amongst the Arabs whom the lions of war gave birth to her. Now I am specific from which community I want and what kind of house she was raised in. Because I want a child who will be a warrior. So I'm picking from a family that is known that they are not cowards. They are strong physically, they are strong biologically, they are strong. Courage they have. They understand certain principles. They understand what it means to be a man who stands up for those who are in need of help, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to marriage, we shouldn't frown from involving our parents or the elders in the community and going to them and saying, Salaamu Alaikum, uncle, aunt, mother, father, look, I'm ready to get married, or I'm considering to get married. Okay? Maybe not today, maybe 2 years from now, maybe 3 years from now. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I've done so far in my life. I am studying the medical field, yada, 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 to the rest of it. Okay. I want you to find me a person who is equally in the medical field. Or maybe I don't want someone in the medical field because the last thing I want to talk about after coming home from work is somebody else's work, right? So maybe I want someone who's in a different field. So now I involve somebody who knows the community and knows who and who in the community, in order that I'm finding someone who is a closer match to that which I want out of this marriage, and not just, as we say, walk into it blindly, because this marriage should be a lifelong decision. As Shia of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam Allah, and as Muslimin, we consider divorce to be the worst of halal. We're not saying it's haram, but it's the worst of halal. It should never be something in our dialogue if it can be helped. Okay? So therefore, to give ourselves the best chance of success, we see Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam Allah setting an example that before you go out and get married, inquire from those people in your community who understand the community and know everything about the community, in who's who and who comes from where. Sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So that she may give me a son to stand by my son Abu Abdullah Hussain. Mu'mineen and mu'minat, of all the different reasons in marriage, there should be one reason that is above all. That I want to get married, not because I simply like or love this person, or I just want to have a household, or I want to have a family, or I want to have a trophy wife or a trophy husband. These are many reasons why people get married. Good reasons, bad reasons. But for us as a proactive community, one of the main categories that should be on the top of our list as to why I am getting married is that I want to create a family and children and a future generation that will be supporting my Imam when my Imam doesn't have any supporters. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib says specifically, so that she may give me sons, or that I may have sons who will help my son Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam Allah in Karbala. There was a tweet that I came across. It says, it doesn't matter how many brothers you have. It's about what your brothers are willing to do for you. Yusuf alayhi salam Allah had 11 brothers that threw him into the well. And Al-Hussain alayhi salam Allah had Al-Abbas alayhi salam Allah. And that's where we're going to leave that conversation. Al-Abbas alayhi salam Allah from the very beginning was raised to be in service of his Imam. Yes? We inshallah should be having that vision that whenever we begin to think about marriage or think about family planning and having children, we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, don't just give me any child. Don't give me a child who's going to be the source of my problems later on. No, Ya Allah, give me a child who, if they are not useful to me, at least they are useful to the Imam of our time. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa And when it comes to wanting a child to be useful to the Imam, find yourself, and specifically I'm talking to the brothers, find yourself a mother who will raise that child to be in the service of the Imam. Because no matter how we want to word this, or no matter how you want to, coin this, or how we try and be politically correct, Islam, and again we come back to our Sharia and our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wa sallam, sallallahu alaihi Mustafa, tells us time and time and time and time again, what the mother is, the child will be. This is in our aqeedah. What the mother is, the child will be. Children, according to our Sharia and according to the realities that we believe in, will follow more in the teachings of the mother and the mother's family more than they do with their sons. I'll give you a couple of examples in the history of Islam, so inshallah this idea can be more solidified in our minds. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa Can you find a person in the history of Islam more wretched than Yazid lanatullah alayhi? Yazid, or rather Yazid's father lanatullah alayhi, forced a woman by the name of Hinda to marry Yazid. Hinda, she was forced to marry Yazid, but Hinda was a student of Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salamullah prior to marrying Yazid. And she had love and mawadda for the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah. And the child that she had, even though Yazid lanatullah alayhi is as wretched as Yazid is, the child, because of the mother Hinda, Yazid's very own son rebelled against Yazid and fought against Bani Umayyah to give the Ahlul Bayt their rights. That the family of Yazid lanatullah alayhi, what they did with the son of Yazid, whose name is also Muawiyah, they crucified him, and then they put his body inside the carcass of a mule and they burnt him within that. Because they were so ashamed that someone from their lineage was saying, give Muhammad and Ali Muhammad back their rights. But you could be the Yazid. As bad as he was, the child's future and the child's upbringing and the child's religion is going to be solidified by the kind of mother that they have. We have another example in a situation during the Islamic Revolution in Iran. Ayatollah Gulpaygani records this incident, and I've mentioned this in many of my discussions when it comes to spouse selection. In the time of the Islamic Revolution in Iran, there was one of the scholars who the Shah of Iran wanted to execute. And when it came time to execute this scholar, the entire village was weeping because the scholar has been a very important personality in the community. Everyone knows him, they go to him for all their issues, they listen to his khutbah every Jum'ah and so on and so forth. So the entire community is weeping and they're lamenting that they are helpless to do anything to help this beloved scholar of theirs. Everyone is weeping except one individual is clapping and celebrating and saying, hurry up, kill him so we can be done. The person who is clapping is none other than the scholar's own son. Ayatollah Gulpaygani tells us that the student of this scholar who is taking the will looks at the scholar and he is crying and he says to him, I weep that a powerhouse of Iman and Taqwa and knowledge and piety can produce a son like this who is clapping saying, hurry up and kill my father? How? How can you be so righteous and he is so wretched? The scholar looks at him and he smiles. He says, I was actually expecting him to be my executor. I honestly expected, when they told me I will be executed, I expected my own son to be the one who carries out the execution. He said, explain to me, how? He said, I'll explain to you. When we had this son, the mother didn't have any milk to give. Given that she didn't have any milk to give, we inquired in the village, in the community that we live in, if there is anybody else who is also breastfeeding her child, that we can pay her to breastfeed our child. So we found one such woman in the community, and our son drank from her milk for 2 years. As the child began to grow, we noticed that he has, all this kind of mischievous traits within him. And these are traits that are not in my family, nor are these traits in my wife's family. My family and my wife's family, as far back as we go, every one of us is either a scholar or a shaheed. And this child is completely going off tracks from the way our families have both been. So we began to inquire about the family in which we gave so that they can breastfeed our son. He said, we discovered that the lady who breastfed him for 2 years, every Thursday night holds a program in her house in which 100 times they curse Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. 100 times they curse Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Whilst in my house we are sending salawat upon Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. So how can I expect one who was nourished with the milk of Bughd Ali to have any love towards me? Meaning the one who nourished my child's flesh and blood and soul has absolute hatred for the Prophet and his progeny. How can I expect this child to have any love for Ali ibn Abi Talib or for those who have love for Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam? Likewise, if I want to teach my children prayers, but I'm marrying from a household in which the mother and the mother's family do not care about salah at all, what are the chances that my child will pray? And equally, sisters, if you marry into a house where the husband and the husband's family doesn't care about salah at all, how is your child going to care about salah? If I am in a household, or I'm marrying from a household in which the husband's family or the wife's family doesn't care about coming to majalis of Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salamullah, how will my children ever come to the majalis of Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam? And therefore, in spouse selection, before I'm thinking about who I want to take home, I should also think about who do I want to raise in this home of mine. And who is going to be raised in that house is going to be contingent on who is going to be the parent in that house. Do they love salah? Do they pray? Do they fast? Do they honor their parents? Is it possible for me to accept my wife or my husband to love and listen and respect me if they don't love and respect their parents? As in, try to imagine the scenario. You go to a person, let's say you're 18, 20, 21, 25, you want to get married. The person you're going to get married is going to be around about the same age as you. Okay, and you see that they are cursing at their parents, being disrespectful to their parents. If they can't respect the person who has fed and clothed and housed them for 25 years, how are they going to respect you when they only met you 6 months ago? Right? So the household in which we are raised and how we treat the people in that household will be a very good telltale sign of the kind of house we're going to be building for ourselves in the future. And therefore, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, Allah highlights this point by saying to his brother Aqil, "O Aqil, find me a woman from a particular household so that she can give me a specific household built on supporting the Imam of the time, sallallahu alaihi Muhammadin." al-Baneen alayhi salam, and believe me, we can say whatever we want to say about men, but again, al-Baneen and the story of Al-Abbas proves to us that your child is based on the mother. That is a simple fact. That is not to say anyone's better than anyone, but it's discussing reality. The sky is blue, the sky is blue. A mother will have an impact on how your child is raised. A mother will have an impact on how the child is raised. Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah, when al-Baneen first walks into the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen, on her wedding night, when she enters the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib walks in and he calls out to her, "Salam, O Fatima." because her name is Fatima. When he says to her, Salam o Fatima, she notices that Al-Hassan and Al-Hussain alayhim salamullah become upset, because they are reminded of their own mother, Fatima az-Zahra. Immediately she says to Amir al-Mu'mineen, "Oh Ali, is it possible for me to make a request of you?" He says to her, "Absolutely, whatever you want to request." She says, "Do not call me Fatima ever again in your life." He says to her, "Why?" She says, "I did not come into this household so that I can be the reason for the upset of Al-Hassan and Al-Hussain. I came here for different reasons. I came here to be able to support them. And if you call me Fatima, I see that they are reminded of their mother, Fatima. And when they are reminded of their mother, Fatima, they become upset. So do not call me Fatima ever again." He says to her, "What should I call you? Choose any name and I will call you by that name." She says, "There is no name better than the name of Fatima, so I won't choose a different name. Instead, just call me mother of sons. For insha'Allah, I will give you sons. Just call me the mother of your sons." This kind of humility and this kind of service to the Imams and to the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salamullah is what embeds the loyalty in Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah for his master Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. Indeed, it was al-Baneen alayhi salamullah who said to Al-Abbas alayhi salam, "Never ever call Al-Hassan and Hussain brothers, for they are not your brothers, they are your masters. You are the son of an ordinary woman, while they are the sons of Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen. You are not Sayyid Shababi Ahl al-Jannah, whilst they are Sayyidai Shababi Ahl al-Jannah. O Abbas, when you sit in the presence of Imam al-Hassan and al-Hussain, sit as if you are in salah when you are giving your salam and tashahhud. For you are sitting in the presence of Hujjatullah, Allah's proof on earth." And therefore you find that Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah had this undying love and loyalty and support for Al-Imam al-Hussain alayhi afdal salatu wassalam. But that was only possible through the teaching and the love and the conditioning and the training which his mother al-Baneen alayhi afdal salatu wassalam has embedded within him. In her honor, sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Mu'mineen, mu'minat, if we wish and we hope, and I hope that we sincerely believe that there is an Imam who is waiting for us, and we are also waiting for him. An Imam who we say his first call will be Ya li Tharati al-Hussain, an Imam who will avenge Shuhada'i Karbala, an Imam who will rebuild Jannatul Baqi', an Imam who will re-establish justice, peace and prosperity for humanity. If we truly believe that this Imam is coming and his return is not just a sure thing to happen, but we are hopeful that it happens in our lifetime, then we should be desiring marriage, and we should not be setting marriage back and delaying it and making it the least of our priority. We should make it at the top of our priority, but the top of our priority for the reasons of wanting to get married is to establish a household that supports the Imam, and children who will have undying loyalty and complete faith and unconditional love for their Imam. Then we need to start to build our homes around that. And the first way is to find partners who share that vision in serving the Imam. Ajjalallahu ta'ala faraj al-sharif. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Let us dim out the lights as we turn our hearts and minds and souls towards the land of Karbala, that we may pay homage to Abu Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salamullah, and to those who gave their life for the Imam Ajal alayhi salamullah. On the night or the day before Ashura, Shimr Lanatullah alayh is having a conversation with Umar bin Sa'd. after Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam Allah had requested for them to give him one more day so that Habib ibn Mudahir can join Imam al-Hussain in Karbala. Umar bin Sa'd tells Shimr al-La'in, he says, why should we give Imam Hussain anything? And why should we give him this one extra day when we can just march in one straight line and we will trample him and the 72 that he has with him? We're 35,000 people and they are only 72. Shimr La'natullah alayh is related to Al-Abbas through tribal relationships, that he comes from the same tribe as al-Baneen. And he says to him, to Umar bin Sa'd, he says, woe be unto you, may your mother mourn you. Imam al-Hussain has one lion in his ranks that if he releases him and gives him the command to fight, this 35,000 that you see, he will eradicate them as if they never existed. So Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah is a very strong warrior, and numbers is not something that can overpower him. And this is the enemies of Imam al-Hussain testifying to the magnificent strength of Al-Abbas alayhi afdal salatu wassalam. So Umar bin Sa'd says to him, he says, then can we not buy him out in the same way that we bought you out? Meaning that Shimr, who was in the army of Imam Ali in the Battle of Siffin, was bought out by Muawiyah to turn against the Ahlul Bayt. So he says to him, in the same way that we bought you out, can we not buy Al-Abbas and his brothers since they are also from the same tribe as you? He says to him, I don't think you'll have any luck because their mother raised them to be faithful and loyal to Imam al-Hussain. Some traditions say that Shimr was told to go and make an offer to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salamullah, and he stood out in the Maidan of Karbala and he called out, O son of my sister, meaning that al-Baneen is related to us through tribe, to Yazid La'natullah alayh, to Shimr La'natullah alayh. So he calls Al-Abbas, son of my sister. O son of my sister, I would like to make you a proposal. Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah lowers his head, feeling ashamed that such a person can have any relationship to him. So Imam al-Hussain alayhi salamullah says to him, O Abu Fadl, stand up and go and see. He is the commander of Yazid's army and you are the commander-in-chief of my army. Maybe they want to discuss tactics. Go and see what it is that they want from us. Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah goes forward and he sees Shimr al-La'in and he tells him, say what you have said or what you have come to say and be gone, for Allah knows that I despise to look upon you. He knows what they will do to Imam al-Hussain and he doesn't even want to look at them. I despise to look upon you. Shimr La'natullah alayhi says to him, I can guarantee you safe passage for you and for your three brothers. We don't want nothing to do with you, just give us Imam al-Hussain and be gone. Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah becomes enraged. He says, safety for me and my brothers and no safety for the children of Fatima to Zahra. Who do you take us for? Take your offer and go back to your people. When Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah is returning, some traditions say that Zainab al-Kubra alayhi salam came and spoke with Al-Abbas alayhi salam. And she says to him, Abu Fadl, I would like to have a conversation with you. He tells her, Zainab, now is the time to talk, because tomorrow in the heat of the battle, we won't be able to have any conversations. She says, Abu Fadl, I see that they are trying to take people away from Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. What do you have to say about that? He tells her, no matter what may happen, at least for us, you don't need to worry. We will never ever abandon Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. True to his word, on the day of Ashura, Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah continues to ask Imam al-Hussein for permission to go forward in the Maidan. But Imam al-Hussein keeps telling him, "Oh Abbas, I cannot have you going out to fight. Be patient, be patient, be patient." Until Al-Abbas came to Imam al-Hussein and he said to him, "Oh Aba Abdullah, my master, I cannot bear to hear the children crying out, Al-Atash, Al-Atash, the thirst, the thirst. If you will not allow me to go out and fight, at least allow me to go out and bring water for the children." Imam al-Hussein tells him, at that I can do, but on condition that you leave your sword behind, so that the enemy does not take it that you have come out to fight, but you have only gone out to take water. Take your spear, for a spear is a weapon of defense. It's to keep the enemy at bay and at distance. As Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah marches forward to bring the water, Sukaina alayhi salam, the 3-year-old daughter of Imam al-Hussein, is standing at the khayma, or at the tent with Imam al-Hussein, her eyes on the alam, on the banner of Al-Abbas alayhi salam, and she is watching and she is hopeful that her uncle is going to go and bring water and finally put an end to the intense thirst that the children have been feeling for the last 3 nights. As she sees Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah's banner, the traditions say that the banner of Al-Abbas alayhi salamullah goes out of sight. When it goes out of sight, she looks at her father, Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. When she looks at Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salamullah, Imam al-Hussein places his hand on her head and he says to her, "Do not be alarmed, my dear Sukaina. Your uncle Abbas has reached the river Euphrates and he has placed the banner down so that he can fill the water and return to you." She sees that the banner of Al-Abbas comes back up. As the banner rises, it starts to come back towards the khayma. When the banner is returning back towards the khayma, Sukaina alayhi salam becomes extremely excited. Her uncle is coming back, he is bringing the water. She goes towards the children in the tent of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and she says, "Come, come, rush to me. Here comes my uncle Abbas. He is bringing us back all the water that he has promised us." But then she goes out and she stands with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam Allah. Ajrukum ala Allah. All of a sudden she sees that the banner again falls to the ground. She looks at her father, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He says to her, "Sukaina, now is the time to be concerned, for your uncle Abbas has fallen from the back of his horse." He calls out, "Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah." Imam al-Hussein rushes towards Abu Fadl al-Abbas, but they say when he went rushing towards al-Abbas, they noticed that Imam al-Hussein fell down twice. Mu'mineen and mu'minat, the reason why he fell down twice is the first time he saw the right hand of al-Abbas alayhi salam, so he fell down to pick it up. Yes, he sees the second hand of Al-Abbas and he also went to pick it up. Then he comes to see the mutilated body of Al-Abbas ibn Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imam al-Hussein sees that there is one arrow in one eye of Al-Abbas, blood covering the other eye of Al-Abbas alayhi salam. He sits next to him and he puts his head in his lap. Al-Abbas alayhi salam picks up his head and he puts it on the floor. Imam al-Hussein puts the head of Al-Abbas in his lap again. Al-Abbas puts his head on the floor yet another time. Imam al-Hussein says to him, "Why do you put your head on the floor, O Al-Abbas?" He says to him, "Aba Abdullah, right now my head is in your lap while you tend to my wounds. In less than an hour, Shimr will have your head in his lap, and how will he treat you?" Imam al-Hussein is getting ready to pick up Al-Abbas and return him back to the tent. But Al-Abbas says to him, "Aba Abdullah, I ask you for one favor while I have never asked you for anything in my life. I ask you not to take me back to the tent, for I am extremely ashamed of Zainab and Sukaina. I promised to bring them back the water, but I am no longer able to bring them the water. Imam al-Hussain says to him, "O Al-Abbas, I will give you what you have asked, but I too have a request from you." He says to him, "Ask me, my master, whatever you want I will give you." He says, "Oh Abu Fadl, you have never once in your life called me brother. You always call me Sayyidi. You call me Mawla. You call me my master. I want to hear the word brother from your lips one time before you leave." He looks at him and he says, "Assalamu alayka ya akhi ya Aba Abdullah." حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. لا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب سينقلبون. مات الحسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين.